2026 morning motivation. No more excuses. Good morning. Before the world asks anything of you, ask something of yourself. Who am I becoming today? Not tomorrow, not next year, today. Because today is the classroom and life is the teacher. Discipline is not about how you feel when you wake up. It's about what you decide to do despite how you feel. Feelings change. They shift with the weather, with sleep, with circumstances. If your progress depends on feelings, then your growth will always be inconsistent. Education begins when you understand this truth. Feelings are information, not instructions. Every morning your mind will try to negotiate with you. It will say, do it later. It will say, you deserve rest. It will say, today doesn't really matter. That voice is not wisdom. It's comfort trying to stay in control. Discipline is the skill of acting before that voice gets the microphone. And like any skill, it must be practiced daily. Discipline teaches you how to delay gratification. It trains you to value long-term results over short-term relief. When you choose discipline, you are educating your character. You are telling yourself, I am someone who finishes what I start. I am someone who shows up even when it's inconvenient. Over time, your actions become evidence of who you are, and confidence is born from that evidence. Here's something important to understand. Motivation is a reaction. Discipline is a decision. Motivation shows up after results. Discipline shows up before them. You don't get disciplined because you succeed. You succeed because you become disciplined. That's the lesson many people miss. They wait for inspiration, but disciplined people create inspiration through action. Think about this. Every meaningful achievement requires repetition. Repetition without discipline is impossible. You can't master anything by accident. Mastery is taught through routine. Routine trains the brain to operate at a higher standard automatically. That's not talent. That's education through consistency. Discipline also protects you. It protects you from excuses that sound reasonable but lead nowhere. It protects you from quitting on days when progress feels invisible. Growth is often silent before it is visible. Discipline keeps you working during the silence, trusting that effort is being stored, not wasted. When you choose discipline over feelings, you reclaim authority over your life. You stop being a victim of moods and become a student of self-control. You learn that you don't need perfect conditions to perform. You need commitment. And commitment is something you give, not something you wait for. Every disciplined action sends a message to your future self. I didn't give up on you. That message compounds. One disciplined morning leads to another. One disciplined choice builds momentum. Momentum builds belief. Belief builds achievement. Understand this lesson deeply. Discipline is freedom. It frees you from regret. It frees you from inconsistency. It frees you from the frustration of knowing what to do but not doing it. When you master discipline, you no longer ask, do I feel like it? You ask, what must be done? And then you do it. So when the alarm rings, don't consult your feelings. Consult your goals. Educate your mind to move first and let motivation catch up later. That's how progress is built. That's how discipline outlives feelings. Every morning you wake up, you are handed a blank page. No noise yet, no judgment yet, just opportunity. What you choose to do in those first moments is not random. It is instructional. You are teaching your mind how seriously you take your future. Mornings are not just the start of a day. They are the foundation of direction. If you rush into the world unprepared, the world will decide your pace, your priorities, and eventually your purpose. Preparation is education in motion. It is the quiet work you do when no one is watching that determines how loud your results will speak later. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your preparation. That's not theory, that's practice. The student who studies before the test doesn't hope for answers. They recognize patterns. The professional who prepares before the opportunity doesn't panic, they perform. The mind trained every morning doesn't react, it responds. Most people misunderstand preparation. They think it's about having everything figured out. It's not. It's about showing up anyway. Reading when you don't feel like it. Training when results are delayed. Thinking before speaking. Planning before reacting. These small, intentional acts educate your discipline. They teach your brain that progress matters more than comfort. Your mornings shape your mindset because the mind is most honest before the distractions arrive. That's when beliefs are formed and reinforced. If the first lesson you teach yourself every day is chaos, rushing, and delay, don't be surprised when your life feels the same. But if the first lesson is focus, order, and effort, you begin to move with clarity. You don't need more time, you need better instruction, and that instruction starts with you. Preparation also builds confidence, and confidence is learned behavior. It's not arrogance, it's evidence. When you know you've done the work, you don't beg for validation. You don't shrink in pressure. You stand firm because your preparation has educated your self-trust. Confidence is simply remembering what you practiced. Understand this: success favors those who are ready before they are seen. Opportunity rarely announces itself. It whispers. And if you haven't trained your ears through daily preparation, you'll miss it. That's why consistency beats intensity. A little every morning outperforms a lot once in a while. Education is cumulative. So is preparation. When you prepare daily, you also learn patience. You stop chasing shortcuts because you understand process. You realize that mastery is not a moment, it's a routine. And routines, when repeated, become identity. Eventually, you don't prepare because you want success. You prepare because that's who you are. So tomorrow morning, don't ask if you feel motivated. Ask if you are committed. Sit with your goals. Review your direction. Strengthen your body. Sharpen your mind. Speak life into yourself before doubt gets a chance to speak first. That is not luck. That is learned behavior. Preparation doesn't guarantee an easy path, but it guarantees you won't be unqualified for the journey. And when the moment arrives, you won't be hoping you're ready. You'll know it, because you prepared when it mattered most. Ownership is the moment you stop negotiating with reality and start partnering with it. It is the decision to say, "This is my responsibility," even when circumstances are unfair, unclear, or uncomfortable. Education does not only happen in books or classrooms, it happens when you study your own results and accept that they are connected to your choices. When you understand this, you stop wasting energy blaming people, systems, timing, or luck, and you begin using that energy to improve your actions. Accountability is a form of self-respect. When you take responsibility, you are acknowledging that your decisions matter. You are teaching your mind that you are not powerless, that you are an active participant in your own growth. Many people avoid accountability because they confuse it with guilt or shame. But true ownership is not about punishment, it is about clarity. It shows you exactly where you are, so you can clearly see where you need to go. Excuses feel comforting in the moment, but they quietly steal your future. Each excuse delays learning. Each justification postpones progress. When you explain away your lack of effort, your missed opportunities, or your inconsistent habits, you also explain away your potential. Education requires honesty, and honesty begins when you are willing to tell yourself the truth without decoration or denial. Taking ownership means asking better questions. Not, "Why did this happen to me?" but, "What can I learn from this?" Not, "Who failed me?" but, "How can I improve my response?" These questions train the mind to seek solutions instead of sympathy. Over time, this mindset rewires how you approach challenges. Problems stop looking like walls and start looking like lessons. Responsibility creates momentum. When you admit a mistake quickly, you shorten the recovery time. When you accept a weakness, you give yourself permission to strengthen it. Growth accelerates when excuses are removed because nothing stands between effort and outcome. The faster you take ownership, the faster you move forward. This mindset also builds trust with yourself and with others. People trust those who own their actions, correct their errors, and stay consistent under pressure. More importantly, you begin to trust yourself. Self-trust is built when your words match your actions, when promises made to yourself are promises kept. That trust becomes confidence, and confidence fuels persistence. Ownership teaches discipline in real time. It forces you to show up even when motivation is missing. It reminds you that results are rarely about talent alone. They are about responsibility repeated daily. The more you practice accountability, the less external validation you need, because your progress becomes proof. Most importantly, responsibility gives you control over your future. When everything is someone else's fault, nothing can be changed. But when the outcome is yours, improvement becomes possible. That is the power of ownership. It turns obstacles into instruction and setbacks into education. When you fully accept responsibility, growth stops being optional and starts becoming inevitable. You no longer wait for permission to improve. You move, you adjust, you learn, and you rise. Because once excuses are gone, only progress remains. Excellence is not a personal luxury, it is a responsibility. When you commit to doing your work at the highest level, you are not just improving your own life. You are contributing to a larger system that depends on your effort, your integrity, and your consistency. Every skill you sharpen, every task you complete with care, every standard you refuse to lower becomes a lesson others learn from, whether you realize it or not. Education teaches us that knowledge grows when it is applied. In the same way, excellence grows when it is practiced daily, especially when no one is watching. True excellence is not about applause or recognition. It is about alignment. Alignment between what you know is right and what you actually do. When those two meet, you become dependable. And dependable people change environments. Think about this: when you show up prepared, focused, and committed, you reduce the burden on others. Your excellence creates trust. Trust creates opportunity. Opportunity creates growth, not just for you, but for families, teams, communities, and generations connected to your work. That is service in its highest form. You don't have to stand on a stage to serve. You serve when you refuse to cut corners. You serve when you choose quality over convenience. You serve when you decide that your best is the minimum standard. Education is not confined to classrooms. Life is the real curriculum. And one of its most important lessons is this: your habits teach people how to treat their responsibilities. When you take your role seriously, whatever that role is, you elevate the space you occupy. A student who studies with intention raises the level of the class. A worker who performs with excellence raises the level of the workplace. A leader who prepares daily raises the level of everyone around them. Excellence also builds character. It trains patience, resilience, and humility. You learn that mastery takes time, that progress is earned, and that growth requires discomfort. These lessons shape you into someone others can rely on. And when people can rely on you, your influence expands naturally, without force, without noise. Understand this clearly: mediocrity never inspires, but excellence always teaches. It teaches what is possible. It teaches what is required. It teaches that standards matter. When you live by high standards, you give others permission to do the same. That ripple effect is powerful. It outlives motivation. It outlasts circumstances. Service through excellence means asking yourself each morning, how can I do this better today than I did yesterday? What can I improve? What can I learn? That mindset turns ordinary routines into meaningful contributions. It transforms work into purpose and effort into legacy. And here's the truth many overlook: the world does not reward potential, it rewards preparation. Potential is common, discipline is rare, excellence is earned. When you earn it, doors open not because you demanded access, but because your work spoke for you. So don't aim to be noticed, aim to be useful. Don't chase praise, chase progress. Don't wait for permission to be great. Decide to be excellent where you are, with what you have right now. Because when you commit to excellence, you are not just building a career or a reputation. You are educating others through example. You are serving without announcing it. And you are leaving every place you touch better than you found it. So today, choose discipline, choose preparation, choose ownership. No more excuses, not because life is easy, but because you are capable. Stand up, start now, class is in session.